And let's bring in Republican Congressman Kevin Hern of Oklahoma for more. Congressman, thank you for coming on. We just heard Murray there lay out the situation at the border. Agents say apprehensions are down 60% since President Biden put new restrictions in place. So why do we need to deploy more troops to the border if crossings are going down?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. When you say he put new restrictions in place, basically what he did is he reinstated what he took out from President Trump when he came into office back in 2021. We wouldn't have, some 10 million illegals that have crossed the southern border. And this is a big issue. I think it was one of the mainstays of him winning the election just 2 months ago. Democrats, you saw 46 Democrats support the Lake and Raleigh Act. Democrats know this is what's happened over the last 4 years has been devastating to their party and to the policies of their party. And they know that this has had to be corrected. And that's why you're seeing so many Democrats now, especially ones that are in the so-called swing districts, come over and support the immigration policies of President Trump.
Now, the Lake and Raleigh Act is headed to President Trump's desk, and an ICE review found in order to enforce the law, it would need to expand its detention capacity. The review says full implementation would be impossible for ICE to execute within existing resources. So how will that be handled, and how will it be funded?
Well, you've heard Tom Homan many times talk about, just as you're saying, we're going to need more beds. If we're going to transfer custody from local prisons from different states, we're going to have a place to hold them as they're being sent back to the countries they came from. You mentioned the military going to the border. By the time many of these immigrants get to the border, it's already a problem. Our ICE agents, our Homeland Security agents, the Border Patrol, they're all overwhelmed at the border. The issue with the Migrant Protection Protocol, MPP, or the Remain in Mexico, is it to be a deterrent to keep people from coming from all over the world to Mexico and through Mexico to arrive at the southern border, seek asylum in the countries you're at through a consulate or an embassy, so that you don't have to take the treacherous route through Mexico and into the cartel's territory along the southern border.
And I also want to ask you about President Trump's sweeping pardons and commutations of January 6th rioters, including some who were convicted of attacking police. Do you support that move?
Well, it's one of many of the 200 actions that President Trump did on the last couple of days. Only in politics do you get criticized for doing the things that you say you're going to do. That's what President Trump ran on, that he was going to pardon many, if not all, of the J6 people that were convicted or, a part of that process. You contrast that with what Joe Biden did. He pardoned people that hadn't even had a issue yet, including his son and other people that were in his that were part of the J6 committee. And then he goes on to say, well, that doesn't mean they've committed a crime. So why would you take any energy to go pardon somebody if they've not even committed a crime? It seems a little suspicious. So I think there needs to be a lot of reporting on that as well.
So, Congressman, do you support him pardoning all of those January 6 rioters, including those convicted of violent offenses?
I support him because what he said was he was going to do that. He said it to the American people, and 77.3 million people elected him as president because of his policies, and that was one of many that he said he would do. And he's fulfilling what his promises were, and that's what the American people put him in office to do.
Now, Oath Keepers leader Stewart Rhodes was serving an 18-year sentence for seditious conspiracy until he was granted clemency by the president. Now he says he was on Capitol Hill yesterday meeting with Congressman Gus Bilirakis to discuss a pardon for another Oath Keeper. What do you think about that?
Well, I haven't been a part of that, so I would want to talk to Congressman Bilirakis to see what was said. But, listen, if he's been pardoned, he's a citizen again. I mean, he has the ability to come talk to whoever he wants to, and that would be his prerogative.
Take a meeting with the leader of the Oath Keepers or the leader of the Proud Boys?
You need to talk to Congressman Bilirakis about that. But again, he's been pardoned as any other citizen in America that's been pardoned.
Would you take that kind of meeting?
Listen, I'd have to see what the conditions were, but I don't go check somebody's background if they're not coming to see me if they're in prison. So I would assume they're a citizen. They couldn't get in the Capitol building if they didn't have the proper credentials. So they're not convicted anymore.
Now, President Trump says he will impose 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico starting next month. What do you think about the policy there, and are you concerned about possible rising costs if retailers pass those prices on to consumers?
Well, I sit on Ways and Means on the tax subcommittee, and I'm involved in trade issues. Listen, when we have unfair trade practices between countries, we only have a few levers that we can do immediately. those tariffs are levers for the president to be able to bring people to the table to negotiate better deals. This is different than the relationship with China, where we have them stealing our IP. These are more, as you referenced, Mexico and Canada. These are more about them enforcing laws and not allowing bad things to happen. As I mentioned earlier, migrants coming from all over the world coming into Mexico, and the Mexican government allowing them to come across their country and seeking asylum in the United States. We need help from these countries to prevent that from happening. As you probably are aware, the border between us and Canada is the longest unmonitored border in the world, over 5,000 miles. We need Canada to do their part also of knowing who's coming to their country that's trying to seek asylum in the United States.
All right, Republican Congressman Kevin Hern of Oklahoma, we appreciate your time today, Congressman. Thank you.
Thank you.